I think it's pretty normal for kids who are homeschooled to go through a phase where they feel like they're missing out on something in public school. Because public school is the thing that's normalized on TV, it's the thing that's normalized in society, and so homeschool was kind of breaking the rules for a while, although it's not as much anymore because there's so many more kids who are homeschooled, especially post-pandemic. But public school is just not an option for my family. Not only am I not able to balance that level of workload that public school demands in order to be able to succeed well, but I'm just not a fan of a lot of the metrics to be able to define success that public schools have, like a grading system or being able to progress through different levels of how you're learning. And what I mean by that is like sometimes you're on like 4th grade science, but you're on like 7th grade reading. And there's very few schools that can practically accommodate kids on different levels without making them feel like they're behind. I just don't like the idea of telling children that they're behind when they're actually developmentally on target for themselves, but they're not developmentally on target with their peers. Therefore, they're behind their peers, but they're actually exactly where they should be. I just feel like it's a lot more respectful to give children a curriculum that is sculpted towards them as opposed to a curriculum that's sculpted towards everybody the same age as them. We're not all the same people. We all learn at different rates, and that's okay. The metric should be growing, thriving, progressing, and mastering, as opposed to you've got a B-, you didn't master anything, but we're moving you on because it wasn't that bad. I'm also not a fan of homework because I just really feel like that's training kids to be workaholics and telling them that it's normal to have to take your work home with you at the end of the day that you didn't accomplish at school, which means they'll be okay with that once they hit the workforce, and that's really unhealthy. Now, just because I don't agree with the structure of the public school system doesn't mean that my children aren't going to go through a phase where they feel like that's a better system. But a lot of the times when I start digging down on why they want to go to public school, it's usually something, I would say, silly. One of my kids wanted to know what it was like to go through a cafeteria, so I took him to IKEA and we ate lunch. That's pretty much it, kids. And that satisfied him. He never brought it up again. Interestingly, I get comments a lot are like, don't they feel like they're missing out on prom or graduation or that kind of stuff? That stuff never comes up. My kids have just never been interested in it, and they kind of feel like it's weird, like it's almost like a manufactured culture. Interestingly, all of my kids pretty much have the consensus that the worst place to make friends would be in school. One of my kids summed it up best, where she said, I don't really want to go into a classroom full of people and find the people that suck the least there. I'd rather go to places where I have things in common with people and then find people that I want to hang out with. Then she went on to talk about some of the struggles that she sees in the socialization of peers her age. She explained it as them being both way more mature and way less mature at the same time. She mentioned that the topics that they want to discuss are maturity level-wise years ahead of them, but the maturity level they're approaching them at are many years younger than them. She also mentioned that a lot of them have difficulty talking to adults. Interesting perspective, and it gave me a lot to think about. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm doing right by my kids, and I just don't feel like the public school system would be the right place for them.